We're here with NBC Sports' Peter King. Peter, always great to catch up with you. Thanks for taking some time to talk Broncos. Big thing this offseason, obviously bringing in Sean Payton, looking to get the things turned around a little bit. He said last year a lot of guys had dirt on their face for a 5-win season. How do you think he'll go about doing this?
Well, I think one of the things that he will do is because he's obviously a disciple of Bill Parcells. Parcells used to have this saying that all I can do is just go by what I see. So he will go to training camp, he'll go to mini camp, and he will have probably a few preconceived notions, but not overwhelming ones. And when I say, and I've seen this time and again, I saw it time and again in New Orleans, he will play the best guys. And so the one other thing that I think people will enjoy about Sean Payton, the Denver Broncos fan base will be a better educated fan base about football. And by that, I mean, Sean is one of these guys who really enjoys explaining why something happened. And I always felt, I think the coach that I've covered in 39 years covering the NFL, the coach that I've really learned the most from about football is Sean Payton. And, I've been in a few sort of behind the scenes situations with him and Drew Brees. And I just think he wants people to understand the game because we all watch the game. It's a very complicated game. And we all watch the game and we say, geez, why did that happen? Why did this happen? Obviously, he's not going to give away state secrets. But I think people will understand the whys of football a lot better listening to Sean Payton every week. So when he got that job, I said, the people of Denver are lucky, not only because they got the best guy to try to resuscitate Russell Wilson, but because I think he's going to really make it fun and educational at the same time.
You bring up Russell Wilson there. He kind of stumped to bring in Sean Payton. How do you think that pairing is going to work?
I think Russell Wilson needed somebody to come in and say, look, I'm the coach, you're the player. And, you need to be coached. And Russell Wilson enjoys being coached. And I think quarterbacks who play for Sean Payton are going to get coached. They're going to get coached hard. Now, Payton will also trust his quarterback. He always has. Now, it helps when you have Drew Brees. But so Russell Wilson will enjoy this, but it'll be a totally different atmosphere than it was with Nathaniel Hackett, because you knew right from the start that the Hackett-Wilson relationship was more probably of a partnership than it is going to be now. And certainly more of a partnership than it will be now. But I don't think that's a bad thing. I think the best thing for Russell Wilson is that this just gets absolutely stripped down to it's all football. It's not about any of the other stuff. And I think that'll be good for Russell Wilson.
The Broncos in free agency brought in a backup quarterback with Jared Stidham. I know that you wrote that that was your most fascinating move of free agency. Why did you think that?
So Jarrett Stidham, I would say a year ago at this time, was out of favor in New England, may not have even made the team with the Patriots, probably wouldn't have made the team with the Patriots. And so Josh McDaniels traded for him. Now, Jarrett Stidham, honestly, the only coach he's really ever had in the NFL was Josh McDaniels. And so when things really fell apart with the Raiders and Derek Carr disappeared the last 2 weeks after getting demoted, you hand the starting job to a guy who has never started a game in the NFL, and you're asking him, your first assignment is to play the best defense in football, the San Francisco 49ers, and to do it when the 49ers have a lot to play for and your team has nothing to play for as far as the postseason. So he goes out, he throws for 365 yards, 3 touchdowns. He had the best game all year of any quarterback, in the regular season against the 49ers. So Bill Walsh once had a statement. As a matter of fact, I heard him say it. If I've seen a guy do something once or twice or 3 times, I should be able to coach him to do it all the time. I'm sure that's what Sean Payton thought when he saw Jarrett Stidham. And add this to the fact. What do you want to do? Like if you're the Broncos, do you want to bring in Andy Dalton and pay him $7 million a year? Or do you want to bring in Jarrett Stidham and pay him $5 million a year? We don't know whether Jarrett Stidham is going to be good, but we know what Andy Dalton is. He's a fine, okay backup. But I think Sean Payton shot for the moon a little bit and basically said, I trust myself to be able to coach this guy up and he's going to be good. And I think it was just, I was shocked because I know the Raiders really wanted to keep him and tried to keep him. And he thought that there was going to be a better opportunity. And with all credit to Stidham, this wasn't in any way sort of a disloyal act in spurning McDaniels. It was simply about opportunity because he was pretty sure that whether they signed Jimmy Garoppolo or drafted somebody very high, they were going to bring in another quarterback who had a better chance to start and be the guy over him. And so why not go to a place that who knows what is going to happen with Russell Wilson? But he's going to be there as the safety net in case it collapses again,
Sean Payton said it was a priority to get him. So the Broncos got their backup quarterback there. Peter, since we last talked, there's been an ownership change with the Broncos, the Walton Penner family group coming in. How have you seen them come in, and where do you think they are taking this Broncos organization?
I guess I look at it and say that in today's football, you want smart people who have the resources to build a good team and yet know what they don't know. Okay. And everyone who talks to, the ownership group and talks about the ownership group from some bit of knowledge says that that's what they're going to do. They're not going to be the kind of owner who says, I was tremendously great in another business, and so I'm going to run this like a business and blah, blah, blah. They are going to study this. A couple of times I've talked to Payton about the owners, and we're not on the record. We're just talking. I can tell you that he's really, really happy with this ownership group, and he really worshiped Tom Benson and Gail Benson. He loved working for them because honestly, they basically, for the most part, left him alone and left he and Mickey Loomis to do this thing. And I think it's going to be a little bit different. There will be a check and a balance with Greg Penner, but I think that he's not ever going to do anything that is precipitous or really, really knee-jerk. So I think the relationship with them will be pretty good.
The last one for you here, Peter. Last year, Mike Shanahan, Broncos former head coach, got pretty close to getting into the Hall of Fame a little bit there. Just wondering your thoughts on his legacy. The offense that he ran is all across the NFL now, and just what his chances this time around.
Mike deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. I think all the voters with the Hall know that. And look, the way it works in the Hall of Fame committee is that many times some candidates stand on the shoulders of others. And right now, essentially, you cannot have Bill Cowher in the Hall of Fame without having Mike Shanahan in the Hall of Fame, period. It's not arguable. So there are several coaches who are going to whose fortunes really changed a lot then. Coaches like Tom Coughlin and Mike Shanahan, where if there was ever any question about it, there isn't now. Those guys are getting in the Hall of Fame. As far as what year it happens, I don't know. But Mike's going to get in the Hall of Fame.
What do you think about his legacy, though, and the contributions he made to the game?
I mean, it's unquestioned. The great thing about Mike is that he left his footprints in the sands of the NFL. And if you are just to look at the way the game is played now and look at how, for instance, Kyle Shanahan to this day wants his father's input on things. And Kyle is a very self-assured guy. But honestly, he's pragmatic enough and realistic enough to understand that Mike has been at the center of so many innovations and so many smart things in coaching. And so I think he's, his legacy is above reproach. And, he's one of the great offensive minds in the game.
Peter, thank you so much for your time. Any good beers around here you're going to check out?
I had a great is it 4 Peak? I forget, some 4 Peaks thing. I'm into wheat beer these days. So I was at a ball game the other day and had 2 of those. And if I wasn't driving, I would have had 4. But anyway, the beer out here is pretty good.
I know you like baseball, so I'll let you get to it, Peter. Thank you so much for your time.
Okay, Phil, my pleasure.